CIA, man. Watching documentary. I'm gonna probably watch this one when I get home from work. You gotta watch what you say out here, man. Let me stop this shit because I'm gonna be halfway into this and talking to y'all at the same time. Central Intelligence, man. Or yeah, man. It's a lot going on, man. First, I want to say, R.I.P. to Ricky Hatton. Great warrior. True warrior, man. And it was unfortunate, man, that he passed away. Congrats to Terrence Bud Crawford. Masterful performance. He fought a really good fight, man, and he stood his ground at times and banged out punched Canelo. I told y'all it was going to be a footwork fight, and he did the right thing with his footwork. And Canelo, he was one punch at a time, man. But congrats, man, to Crawford, man. I love Canelo's response. No excuses, nothing but honor and respect. And, saying with Crawford, you can see how happy he was with that win. He wasn't as happy with the Errol Spence win as much as he's happy with this win. And this was the biggest win of his career. So, what's next for him? Of course, you got the detractors out there. Well, why don't you fight Benavidez? Why don't you fight Bivol? Like, they did the same thing with Mayweather, man. They do that only with the brothers, you know what I'm saying? But when we ask for a Canelo Benavidez, why he got to fight Benavidez? We bring up, well, he fought David Avanesian. I mean, not David Avanesian. What's my man name? Avni Durham and all the rest of these guys, John Riders. No disrespect to these guys, but, they didn't earn a shot at Canelo. But Benavidez got to go through all, like, come on. So we're never going to get that fight. And I don't think the fight is even worth watching after what we've seen from Canelo in that last fight. He's only got a puncher's chance of really beating Benavidez now. And Benavidez is at 175, so I don't see that fight happening. But then he want Crawford to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Fight Bivol. Like, come on. They did the same thing with Mayweather. Fight Triple G. Mayweather's almost 40 years old. Triple G's 2 weight classes above him. And you want him to jump 2 weight classes to fight Triple G. You're bugging, man. In his prime. Like, come on. And Mayweather's almost 40. Stop it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to, reach, man, and try to diminish, or anything to try to diminish a brother's success and accomplishments, man. It's sad, man. It goes to show you a lot of the racism out there. And, speaking of racism, we're going to get into this country real quick. This country's on a path of destruction, man. And it's gotten to the point where now you got the right. They don't even want to. I'm listening to J.D. Vance, and then I read a tweet from Marjorie Taylor Greene. They don't want to talk peace anymore, especially after that assassination of Charlie Kirk, man. And rest in peace to him too, man. I'm not gonna. I don't. In Islam, you kill one person unjustly, it's like killing the whole of humanity. And he has some bizarre views, right? And he definitely, said things people didn't agree with. He said some things that did make sense. And but he didn't deserve what happened to him. That was disturbing. And I don't mean disturbing just what we saw. It was just, what we saw was definitely disturbing, but it's something dark behind this, man. And there's more to the story than what's being led on. yeah, man, like, you know, that was sad, man. What happened to that man, man? You know, he didn't deserve that, man. You know, people losing their jobs out here, making fun of somebody's demise, man. You don't make fun of people's demise, especially if we from the hood, man. You know, even back in the days, man, you know, dudes would be like, yo, I don't wish jail on my worst enemy, man. You know, and it should be the same thing for, you know, to see somebody die unjustly or untimely like that, man. Show a little bit of respect, you know, humility. Even if you feel like, you know, the guy, you know, you didn't like the guy, whatever, show some humility, man. Man still has kids in the family, regardless of his wife. I heard one girl, she was so angry. Oh, well, she married that monster. She knew what type of, you know, who's to say he was a monster? You know, you know, and not only that, sometimes, you know, you marry someone and things can change over time. But at the same time, who said he was a monster? What monstrous stuff did he do? You know, he had some views, yes, and those views, right? And I heard one guy tell me, you know, he just gives his opinions, and then he other people give theirs, and that's how, you know, he did it. You know, he would go to these college campuses and debate. Cool, but you know, sometimes not sometimes, your words have impact, man. And his words could have turned into legislations that could impact people's lives, because he's not the only one that feels the way he feels. You know, a lot of people may feel like that. And that's how you got this Republican Democrat Party. You got one, you know what I'm saying? Like you got a lot of people that feel the way he feels. They just never expressed it. He's willing to put himself out there and express it. And, you know, Donald Trump was another one that was willing to go out there and say the things that people wanted to say but were afraid to say, because they were scared to lose their jobs, to be canceled and things like that. And now it's going the other way, because now you got people who are celebrating this man dying, and they're getting fired from their jobs, and now they're crying. Don't celebrate somebody's demise like that. It could be you, but you want somebody celebrating your death? Like, come on, man. Regardless of how you feel about that man, that's not right, man. You're still a human being with a family, and no matter what, people are always subject to change, man. Anybody can change their mind and their thoughts, man. You know what I'm saying? So he was a young man. He might have felt like that now. You don't know how that man would have felt 5, 10 years from now. You know, there's people that have taken Shahada. I've seen European people that have taken Shahada, or priests and pastors, and was like, you know what, man, F Islam and all this stuff, and they sat down and read the Quran and started to use their brain and says, you know what, Islam is the right path, man. I'm tripping. And I've seen the videos of these guys come out and say it, and even show some of their old talking points. People can change, man. So I don't like the fact that people celebrating that man. You know, he got shot in front of the world, man. You know, that's not cool, man. You know, some people feel he was racist. I don't know what that man was, man. You know, he spoke what he wanted. He said the things that he wanted to say out of his mind, and probably was saying it. I don't want to say probably. He was saying the things that a lot of these small town people and a lot of, you know, people really feel, that, you know, that don't have a real true understanding. Now the DEI thing that you talk about, you know, DEI hires and things like that. DEI to me was something that was like, and this is where the Democrats come in, because I look at Democrats and, you know, this two-party thing is killing this country, man. Because on one side you have both sides have extremists, and Malcolm X said it perfect, man. The fox and the wolf, man. And you look at the Republicans have become the wolves. Anger, you know, they stroke their they're based with anger and fear, where the Democrats stroke fear with manipulation, and they both, you know, have same goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, the one thing I would say with Democrats is they hold each other a little more accountable than Republicans. Republicans, both of these shits is cult-like religions, but the Republicans seem more cult-like, because it's like, as long as you're saying what we all agree with, you know, and you're on code, we don't flip on you. With Democrats, they don't care. They ain't got no loyalty to you, man. You do one thing out of pocket, and it's curtains, man. Even if you're going against the Republican Party, you do one thing out of pocket, they packing you. No ifs, ands, and buts. What was my man name from Minnesota? They packed him. I forgot his name. The comedian, governor, or whatever, senator, packed him. Cuomo packed him. Mayor Adams packed him. Spitzer packed him. We can keep going, man. They don't get you out of here, man. The Republicans, they gonna cover that shit up, man. Listen, man, we investigate, we'll look into it, and you know, they're gonna stand behind their guys. You know, but it's very extremism. A lot of them use a lot of anger and extremism. And you know, I'm not saying that they're liars or truth tellers or whatever, but it's just, from what I see on both sides, it's like, you know, one side is extreme and they're dealing with a lot of anger and they're dealing with fear, and the other side deals with fear, and then they try and they use manipulation, and they know how to manipulate the system. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with Democrats, they'll use a legislation based around things that's happening to our people, and then it'll all of a sudden benefit everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, DEI was designed to give equal opportunities to people who weren't getting the opportunity, not based off skin color, but based off of skin color and merit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, boom, for instance, it's been several times I've been canceled out of a job, or I couldn't get into college because of a background check. Things like that. So, you know, I'm not even getting a chance to better myself because they're looking, well, you did this in 1994, you did this 98, so we can't let you on campus, which I understand to a certain degree, depending on, you know, what my charges were. My charges weren't no R words or no violent stuff like that. But I was harming people. I was in the streets hustling. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't get a job. Couldn't get on a decent job. I couldn't get I wasn't able to go to college, even the community college, like in these small little towns. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it wasn't making it fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done been in jobs where I was working 8-9 months and got let go. Or we did it because I asked a question about my pay. Or we did a background check and found out that, you know, you don't fit the mold to be here. What the fuck? Like, been here 9 months already. I don't have any complaints from anybody. Like, and because I asked about my pay, you did a background. They were using things like that, and it was unfair. So I'm going with my own experience of why I believe that they came up with DEI. But on the flip side of it, it was used to help everybody else, and made it look, I mean, you know, the Republicans, they make it look like it's a sympathy thing, but it's not really supposed to be a sympathy thing, because now it's like, all right, well, you can't discriminate on nobody. Everybody, you know, gets a chance, and, you know, they're looking at it like, well, they're just hiring anybody just because they're black or they're Latino or they're a woman. But that's not what it was. It was really pretty much based, it should have been based on your merits what you know what I'm saying, can you do the job? And not be discriminated against because you have a bad background or because of your skin color. You know what I'm saying? Not because a person is unqualified. You know what I'm saying? Like, but see that part, I you know what I'm saying, I didn't disagree with him with that. I feel like, DEI hires should be hired based off of merit and given equal opportunity to prove themselves. That wasn't happening in the past. A lot of people wouldn't have jobs if it wasn't for DEI, and that part is true. But at the same time, most of us earned those spots. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are the best workers they have. Some people don't deserve jobs. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't deserve their positions, man. And I think people took advantage of that. And then you see the Republicans, they pick up on that. That's how they start to point the fingers. Yeah, look, you see, they can't wait to do that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of them, like, let's fix this shit and make sure that we're not hiring people that don't deserve to be hired, they want to just cancel everything because a lot of them people don't want to see you have shit from the beginning because you're a threat when you have anything. And people that don't believe that, all you got to do is look at the history of the country, particularly my people. How many times we've had successful areas that have been destroyed over some bullshit. Fake stories and excuses just to have to go and tear down a whole community, push people out and reclassify them, and they wonder why we're in the hood, you know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side, of course, there's crime. And, there's the targeting of your own people. Yes, some of us people are scared of our own people. Scared to come outside at night. You see a group of black kids, you might say, you know what? I'm going to walk on the other side of the street. If I see a group of white kids, I might walk down that path because I'm not, in my mind, I'm not thinking they're going to try to rob me. This ain't the 1950s and 40s. On the other hand, back in the days, you would have walked with the brothers on that. Now, in these days, you see a group of brothers, and you like, nah, I ain't walking over there, man. You know what I'm saying? Because of the stereotypes, and because, not even just the stereotypes, because of the things that we do to each other in our own neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So, but the Republicans will point the finger and say, look, you see how they treat each other, you see? And it's finger pointing, and then there's never like, well, how can we fix this problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Democrats will pacify the problem, and the Republicans will act on the extremist problem. Let's just lock everybody up. We're gonna enforce the cops, and we're gonna stop and frisk and throw everybody on the wall. We all remember that. You know what I'm saying? Like, until it was deemed unconstitutional. So we understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, how the game goes, right? You know what I'm saying? With the Democrats, what they've done was they took it and pacified it, put a Band-Aid on it, and made it worse by, passing certain legislation. No bail should have only been for misdemeanors and maybe Class C felonies. Anything that has anything to do with a B or C felony, those are more dangerous felonies. I believe you get RR on your own, release on your own recognizance. It's always been there, but I believe that you can get RR based on the judge's discretion and the circumstances of the case, not just letting somebody free and he got 5 charges. One is a gang assault, one is an attempted robbery, one is attempt murder, one is assault, one is stealing, one is selling drugs. Fam, man got 6 felonies and you keep letting them out, and you're not even doing a background check for you let them out. Like, that is stupid. But this is what the Democrats, the legislation they push, which leads the Republicans to say, look, you see. So instead of, like I said, once again, coming to the term of how can we fix it, it's finger pointing and it's blame and then it's extremism. You know, so this is where we at, man. You know what I'm saying? This is where we at, man. Anyway, man, I'm gonna get back at y'all, man. I gotta get in the shower and get myself together, man. Go to work, man. Many Face Publishing, man. I'll holler back at y'all, man. Peace.